honeystocks.com stock market analysis for the 6th of April 2019. If this is your first time here, I like to throw these analysis videos out to social media, usually once or sometimes twice a month. This is actually the second video that I've put out to social media this week after the Asian tech special that I put out there on Wednesday, which thank you for all the positive messages and all the emails thanking me. I'm glad to see so many of you made a little bit of money there. So first off, as always, please give that a quick read over. It's very, very important. It just basically says that I'm not responsible for any of the positions that you wish to take in the market. As always, you need to be an independent thinker. So any charts that I discuss today in the next 15-20 minutes, you need to do your own due diligence and make sure that any trade that you take fits with your own individual trading plan, rule set, etc. So what I'm going to be doing is just walking through around 15 charts that I feel like should be on your radar for next week. These videos are incredibly popular, both via my website and through my various social media channels. So I hope they help some of you out there. I think it's probably fair to say that there's quite a lot of you that perhaps struggle with the markets. There's maybe some of you feel like you're consistently just face planting and position after position. Some of you will be learning from losses. Some of you will be feeling like you're pushing a rock up a hill. Some of you will be trying to learn from YouTube. So hopefully this will help you in some way. Now, if this is your first time here, I'm Sam and I run honeystocks.com. And at the moment, I'm currently working from Mexico. So if you are somebody that struggles, there'll be a couple of minutes at the end. There may be something that I can help you with. And like I said, I do run a super legitimate trading school. Like I said, honeystocks.com. I publish every single trade idea that I post to my client community on my website. So again, feel free to run through 2018 and 2019, the charts that I provide my client group. But the one thing that I need to say is that I don't do get-rich-quick schemes. My time horizon for my positions are generally weeks to months. I'm not somebody that's in this game for little $2 moves or $3 moves or 50-cent moves. I want to be taking stocks from $50 to $100 or $100 to $200. And I have an ability to identify optimal entries into the market and trade management. So if you're a day trader, if your system looks like that, this is probably not going to help you much, because I have a system that's based upon simplicity, not complexity, and really that is literally me trading. That was last summer in, where was I? I think I was in possibly Vienna at the time. So certainly that's really the approach that I have. I don't need any fancy trading setups in order to do well. So hopefully you appreciate what I'm about to go through with you. So rather than me rambling on, I think it's probably best that I just get started with some charts so you can see what should be on your radar for next week. First up, we have Apple. Now, Apple is clearly one of those mega popular stocks. It's taken an absolute beating like the rest of the market did, but we are now starting to move to the upside now. I understand that a few of my guys have obviously taken positions in Apple along this trend. For me, I have specific rules in place. For me, I feel like above $200, I think we can be bullish. It's clearly on a really good uptrend. But for me, an optimal entry would be just above 200. There's a possibility that you might get a bit of resistance at $200. So certainly I'd be, bearing that in mind with a view to moving in above 200. Next up, we have Zynga. Now, this is normally not a stock that I would consider, given that it's trading around $5. Most of you will know by now that most of the stocks that I like to take positions in really range from anywhere between $50 to a couple of $100. I'm not really one to look at, low cap stocks. But the one thing I am mindful of is when a stock is moving. I have my eyes on all areas of the market at all times, and certainly I cannot ignore what price is telling me here now. I don't want to get into the fundamentals of a company because I simply don't really consider those. But what I do understand is that if we get above certain levels, I think if we move above $5.50, I think we can be bullish, and that would represent a decent entry into Zynga. But certainly, if we go back to 2012, there is a bit of resistance here as well at $6. So the cautious amongst you may wish to just wait for $6 to clear. And I think if $6 does clear, I think it starts to go on another run. KLA Tencor, again, we're close to breaking out here. It's obviously been moving sideways. It's not a terribly clean looking chart, and it hasn't been a clean looking chart for a couple of years. But we do know that we are on a really good, excellent move to the upside recently. If we get a breakout, then that could be the catalyst for more buying to come in and for KLA to start to move through the levels 130, 140, 150. So certainly I feel like that's a stock that should be on everybody's radar. Next up we have Square Inc. Now, I'm not going to get into Bulkowski's encyclopedia of chart patterns and how effective some of them are and which ones we can discard and which ones we can utilize, but this is one that we can utilize. It can go absolutely either way from here, so I would be certainly waiting for a move above this key level. For those of you that are looking to take a buy position in Square Inc., I think if we set a price alert for somewhere around 77 and obviously monitor this move to the upside, then I feel like Square Inc. should, in theory, start to move back through the levels and hopefully get back to that magic $100 round number. But obviously, all bets are off on a break to the downside. I've been asked a lot about canopy growth over the last couple of months. Now, I think the first thing to say is that with the weed stocks, that there's not really much structure to price. So it's not really been on my radar whatsoever, despite the parabolic move that it had way back here. It's never been appealing to me. However, we are starting to get a little bit of structure. Price is obviously moving sideways in a very tight range. So there's two ways that you might wish to play this. You might wish to come in at the bottom end of this range, and obviously all bets are off if it breaks to the downside. The concern here would be a trend line. So I think if you are wanting to be a bit more cautious, I think a break above $50 here might represent the best available entry into CGC. Next up we have Lululemon. Now clearly we had a huge gap up overnight. It's kind of moved sideways, but we're finding support at previous resistance, which is obviously a good thing. So certainly that's optimal, but I think we need to get a bit of continuation. I think above this level, I think we can be bullish, but certainly again, like I said before on some of the other charts, I think a break below and all bets are off. Nvidia. Now, again, this is one that I get a heap of emails. I must have had 200-300 messages, emails about this stock alone. Now, rather than give my response to each email individually, I feel like I should just address this and give the one-size-fits-all response. Clearly, we've had a huge drop to the downside, move to the upside. For me, I think above $200, and I would certainly look for Nvidia to start to move through the levels again towards 300, because that would fit my own individual rule set, like I've mentioned before. Some of my guys have been accumulating Nvidia along this move here, which is absolutely fantastic, because that aligns with what they've been taught, independent thinking, rule sets, etc. So certainly I think above $200, for me personally, I become bullish Nvidia, so that might be one to consider. Viva Systems. Now, this is a stock that last year some of my guys profited from incredibly well on this breakout here to the upside. Now, since then, along with the market, it has been moving sideways, but it has been moving through the gears. So I think above 130, hopefully this starts to move towards 140, 150. But I think, provided you understand how price moves and how trends move, you do need to be incredibly disciplined with your positions. But certainly I think above 130, I feel like we start to move towards 140, 150. That's obviously the hope. Now, this is another one that I've had a couple of messages on, and I think, a couple of messages on this. It just makes absolute sense, despite the incredible move that it's had recently. Given previous resistance, there's not really much risk to reward being offered here. So I think above $50, and we can, potentially look to take a position. But I think we obviously need to address the technicals on a breakout. It's not as simple as just jumping in at $50. I think you need to wait for the move above 50, then reassess the technicals. So that's really the first few charts that I wanted to go over with you. Now, I am going to go over just a couple more. I think there's maybe another 6 or 7 charts. But if you're watching this and you're thinking to yourself, what the hell is this? I think from looking at the charts that I'm presenting to you, you can probably see that I'm not someone that's trading on hope. I don't have a let's buy and hold and stick through all the ups and downs and hope that price keeps going up, because I understand that hope is not a strategy. So if you're somebody that perhaps trades on hope, it's not a great place to be. I do feel like that's what you're doing. Whereas I don't like to trade like that. I like to trade like this. I like to have structure, discipline. And I feel like when you have structure and discipline and you understand how the market moves, how the market reacts, then absolutely there's a lot of freedom that goes with that. Now, if this is an analysis that resonates with you in any way, shape or form, please jump onto YouTube, subscribe to my channel, give the video a like so that it can bump me up the algorithms and get my content out there, because I do feel like the world needs to move away from all the day trading nonsense and all the get rich quick schemes that is paraded out there by some penny stock traders and all the day trading crap. So yeah, please jump onto YouTube and give this video a like and give me a subscribe. It would be hugely appreciated. So rather than again me rambling on, I do have some more charts that I need to go over with you now. It's absolutely key that you have an understanding of the market in order to identify stocks. Now, what the market is currently telling us at the moment, for those of you that don't know, I, over the last 2 years, throughout, all the ups and downs in the market, I've pretty much called everything perfectly to a T, whether it be short the market down here, buy back into the market up here. I am mindful that the market is now starting to approach key resistance levels. So if we get a break above these levels, that's obviously good news for the market. So you need to keep an eye on these levels. This is the Dow. The Dow is now approaching its previous resistance, as we can see here. So yeah, I think if we get a move above this level, then that's good news for the market. Same with the S&P 500. Again, we need to be very mindful of what's happening here. We had resistance, we've overcome it. So the next level is going to be critical. And again, a few weeks ago, I said to everybody, tech, this green arrow is going to move towards this green arrow, and that's played out absolutely perfectly. The one thing that really annoys me at the moment is to watch all these so-called experts with the hundreds of thousands of social media followers tell everybody that the market is in this horrible sideways range, and it's not to be trusted. That could not be further from the truth. Since the market, we had this breakdown, absolutely short the market, make the money. But when we had this failed breakdown, what we know about failed breakdowns is we can have fast and aggressive moves in the opposite direction, and this has absolutely played out. So when I started to say to everybody, look, we can look to take buy positions in the market, it was met with a lot of hostility from various individuals. So, well, how can you look to take buy positions in a sideways moving market? And the reason for that is I understand how price moves, and yeah, I don't like it when I'm watching all these guys say the market's moving sideways, just don't take positions. And yeah, the market is absolutely trending at the moment. It has been for the last 3 months, and if you've not been in the market the last 3 months, then you've been made to look really foolish. And certainly if you are somebody that subscribes to various signal alert services, or you maybe follow some individuals that appear to be incredibly knowledgeable, etc., I would just urge you to have your own independent thinking, understand, learn how the market moves, how the market works, and how you can allocate risk along a trend. But that's certainly what I'm seeing with the overall market. We need to be mindful of these levels, absolutely. But if we get breaks above that, then the market is going to start taking the next leg higher. So yeah, that's how I see the overall market at the moment. Now I do have another 4 or 5 stocks for you to consider for next week. Twilio. Now, obviously with cloud-based tech companies, they've taken an absolute hit last week. Now, when the market taking a bit of a hit, it's really a case of just watching where support is. One of my girls posted a chart to the group, and certainly, Twilio is obviously starting to move. So I think above 120, I think we're bullish. Hopefully, again, tech starts to move early next week, and Twilio, hopefully is one of those that starts to move back towards its highs, 140, 150, so forth. ZTS. This is one that has broken out above $100. I think above $100, I think we can be bullish on ZTS. It's one of those that's obviously been trending beautifully, like a lot of stocks. So ZTS, I think, should absolutely be on the radar of everybody. I was asked about this stock, Alexion Pharmaceuticals, so I thought I would just include it in the overall analysis. Now, first thing to say is the chart looks like a complete dog's dinner. It's not something that I would ever consider. However, if it does break out above 150, I think it's worth consideration. I don't think it offers any sort of risk to reward at the moment, but I think above 150, it certainly becomes appealing, given that we've had previous resistance there in the past. So certainly it's trending beautifully at the moment, but I think above 150 would be the logical area to potentially look to take a position. PayPal, for most of you will know that my guy's got an alert above $100 for PayPal. It's starting to move through the levels. So yeah, I think what I wanted to do there is maybe just highlight, where you might wish to take, further positions in the market. It's obviously on an excellent linear uptrend at the moment. So for those of you that like PayPal and perhaps want to take a position, then the stock price, I think above $100, I think we're bullish. Planet Fitness. Now, this is actually one that I have highlighted numerous times when we were building this base here. Now, obviously we got the breakout and it's starting to move. It's very, very difficult to pinpoint an optimal entry at the moment. The stock, in my view, it does have the look of being a bit overextended, potentially due for a bit of a pullback. So for me, Planet Fitness, I think a pullback opportunity is one that I would certainly be looking at. AMD, again, a few weeks ago, above $25, super bullish on it. We had a dip below. Some of you may have been triggered out of the trade, but on a move back above 25, obviously it's starting to move. So I think the next entry would be above 30, 10% upside. And then I think if we get a move above previous resistance here, when we had this parabolic move, which myself and a lot of my guys done incredibly well on before we had a huge market decline, I think we can resume the next leg higher. So I think AMD, given from what I understand, there's a bit of a partnership, I think, with Google, I want to say. Could be wrong in that, but absolutely, price is moving. It's on a good move to the upside. So I think it's one of those that warrants a bit of consideration. And now, yeah, Nike again, another one I've had some messages about. We are moving, price is moving. We've obviously had a bit of a pullback here since we met resistance at $90. I think you can be bullish provided these support levels hold. However, for me personally, I would probably be looking to just wait for this next $4.50 to clear, and above 90 would be the next level that I would personally look to take a position in Nike. But as always, I would be revisiting the technicals on a breakout. It's not a simple case of just jumping in at $90 and hoping price moves up. And you need to understand what the technicals tell you. You need to understand what the market is telling you, and that is what will determine success in the market. So those are the charts that I really wanted to go over with you today. Now, if you are somebody that is struggling with the market, if you're struggling to make consistent profits, if you're struggling to identify entries, if you don't know when to exit, I understand more than most that the path for most traders is a really difficult one. So there's a couple of questions that you should probably ask yourself, and one of those that I like to ask is, how much happier would your life be if you could cut out all the noise and just make incredibly good decisions in the market? Now, with that, if you also didn't feel like you were at the mercy of the stock market, if you were able to make, good judgments, if you were able to build a trading plan, and if you had a rule set and you could apply that for the rest of your life, how much easier would your trading be if you had that structure and you had that understanding and you had that learning? As I said before, I run honeystocks.com, and again, please feel free to go onto my website and scrutinize my style, have a look and see what I have posted to my client group. What you're looking at is worth an incredible amount of money. I know this just purely from the performance and the results of my clients, etc. But if you are in the early stage of learning, or maybe you're somebody that has a bit of inconsistency, I also understand that you could spend the next couple of years just going through various social media accounts, learning from losses. You may be watching YouTube, reading book after book, which just is never ending. And I also know that 95% of you will just end up saying that to the market and telling yourself that you can't do it. Now that's obviously something that I don't like, because I know that the reason for that comes down to the short-term nature of trading. And I think when you have that short-term mindset, it just becomes incredibly difficult. And although that's an incredibly funny picture to look at, I understand that the underlying issues behind it are anything but funny. So if you are somebody that struggles, if you are somebody that wants to get more consistency and to, get that discipline and structure and just align yourself with a style of trading and a group of incredible traders across the world, then, there is something that we can do about it, because we genuinely believe in making a difference. You can go on and have a look at all the client testimonials from all the individuals all across the world who have obviously been through the honeystocks.com program, etc. So if that is something, in this style of trading is something that you want to learn at its absolute fullest, then there is something that you can do about it. But it really does start with asking yourself the question, do you want to keep doing it the old way with the inconsistency, or do you want to learn a new approach? If you are somebody that wants to learn a new approach, it's very, very simple. Jump onto the website and click apply. Choose a time, tell us what you struggle with, and then we'll just have a super informal conversation. Now, if you just want to maybe have a conversation and you want to just pick up a couple of things, then certainly I'm happy to do that. But you really need to just kind of ask yourself, what it is you want to ultimately do. If I can help you on a 20-minute call and just point you in a direction of something that will just enhance your trading, then I will absolutely do that. I have had hundreds of conversations with traders around the world that struggle really, really badly. And if I can help you on a call, then I will absolutely do that. It's not a case that you have to come in and, I'm going to force you to join my group or, go through my program or anything like that. If you are somebody that genuinely struggles, feel free to just schedule a call with us. The good thing at the moment is I am on the time zone of most of the inquiries that I receive. I'm currently working from Mexico at the moment. So for those of you in the US and Canada that normally want to speak to me but can't because I'm normally on UK time, certainly you now have the opportunity to do that. So yeah, jump onto my website, select a time, tell me what you struggle with. It really is that simple. So yeah, if you have stuck around to the end and you are somebody that struggles, and don't be shy, jump on my website, select a time, tell me what you struggle with, and we'll have a super informal chat. But yeah, if you have stuck around to the end, from the bottom of my heart, thank you very much for watching, and I certainly hope to speak to you soon. Thanks.